Nelson Peltz and the Trian Fund Management are not backing down. They are now using Netflix as a cudgel to beat Bob Iger and the Walt Disney Company's board over the head. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. Nelson Peltz and Trian blast Bob Iger and the Walt Disney Company's board after Netflix's annual report shows impressive performance. So, financial analyst, Valiant Renegade, friend of the channel, did an excellent little short video where he compares the Walt Disney Company to Netflix while looking at Netflix's annual numbers for the fiscal year of 2023. First off, he pointed out how the two companies are different. He said Disney runs theme parks, live sports, ESPN, linear broadcast. They've got movies, they've got TV, they've got cruise ships, resorts, hotels, timeshares, everything. Netflix is just a streamer. So pointing out how they're different, whereas Disney has all these other things going on top of their streaming, whereas Netflix just has a streamer. But if you look at the fiscal reports for both of the companies, for the entire fiscal year of 2023, Valiant Renegade says the 12 months ending December 21st, 2023, $6.95 billion in operating income from $33.7 billion in total revenues. That's 21%, according to Netflix. Margins, 21% margins is what he's referring to there. And then looking at Disney's numbers, he said Disney had $88 billion in revenue for the total fiscal year of 2023, and they had $8.9 billion in operating income. So they made $2 billion more in operating income than Netflix did, and it took them 55 to 56 billion more in total revenues to get 2 billion more than Netflix. And then he obviously said, I don't know, maybe someone should try to restore the magic at Disney. It's unclear if Nelson Peltz was watching Valiant Renegade, but he made a move. He has this Restore the Magic website that he's using to point out how poorly the Walt Disney Company board has mismanaged the company. And he added an update following Netflix's fourth quarter report here. It now reads, Netflix's impressive performance, increasing operating margins more than 5 times from 4% in 2016 to 21% in 2023, and its ability to grow free cash flow from negative 3.3 billion in 2019 to positive 6.9 billion in 2023 highlights the significant opportunity Disney has to improve its profitability. Furthermore, it adds Netflix also guided to achieving 24% operating margins next year, which stands in stark contrast to Disney's goal of break-even profitability next year, especially considering Disney's asset quality and significant revenue scale. The website then includes this bar graph comparing Netflix to the Walt Disney Company. You can see on the left, it shows the expanded margin that Netflix did in 2023 from 18% to 21%. You then have their current goal for fiscal year 2024, which is 24% margins. And then it compares it to Disney, which is literally 0% margins on its streaming service, Disney Plus. Pathetic, right? And then he points what Trian's goal is 15 to 20% if he gets a board seat on the Walt Disney Company, with revenues approximating 30 billion. So he thinks he's going to increase revenues from the 23 billion that the Walt Disney Company currently has from streaming to 30 billion. This isn't the first time he's used Netflix to beat the Walt Disney Company over the head with. The site identified that the Walt Disney Company has a major problem when it comes to streaming profitability and shared Disney's current path, which is, this is what the Walt Disney Company has said, is focused on achieving significant and sustained profitability. But Peltz counters, the site counters that it offers, quote, no guidance or tangible targets beyond a break even, which again, that's what this bar chart shows, right? And then Peltz's solution is to target and achieve Netflix-like margins of 15 to 20% by fiscal year 2027. Now, obviously, he's not explaining exactly what he would do. We know that he has talked to Bob Iger, people on the board, probably given them the advice on what they need to do. One of his solutions is obviously changing their creatives. We know he's mentioned that as well. And I think that's something that I've talked about for years. The Walt Disney Company's creative engines are absolutely bankrupt. They have destroyed nearly every single one of their major tentpole brands. Look at Marvel, look at Lucasfilm, look at Star Wars, look at Indiana Jones, look at Disney Princesses, look at Pixar. They are all in the toilet, and it does not look like they are going anywhere up, but they are still on the decline. I mean, we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at the beginning of last year lose money. One of the first films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to lose money, brought in less than $500 million in box office sales. And it got worse because when they released the Marvels, in September when it came out, October, whenever it was, it didn't even do 200 million total. So it declined in half. It did less than half of what Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania does. So clearly on the decline. You're seeing that also with Lucasfilm Disney Plus properties. Look at Andor. Season finale had higher numbers than Ahsoka. Mandalorian season 3 had less viewership than its previous season, despite having more subscribers to Disney Plus. So we're seeing declines like across the board. Elemental declined. Lightyear movie, just what is that, 2-3 years ago, decline. Nowhere near where it was just in 2019. So pretty much all their properties are on decline, and I think a lot of that is due to the creative engine, and Peltz has called that out. So that is obviously one solution he has offered. He wants to change the creative engine over there, and I think that probably comes with firing a bunch of people and getting new people in that know exactly what they're doing, maybe keeping budgets a little bit tighter. That is something that Bob Iger, Kevin Feige, and other executives at the Walt Disney Company have talked about. Whether or not that they're actually enacting that is another story. But he hasn't revealed all of his plans to get this accomplished. Obviously, I think he has them. He's talked about having these meetings about some of the things that he would do. So, but he is on the warpath. He's not backing down. And when new information comes out, he's using it to beat the Walt Disney Company over the head. Even if you go to the Restore the Magic, he has already quoted Elon Musk, who has weighed in as well. So Nelson Peltz means business. He's not going away. I think even if he loses this proxy war, that will just even embolden him even further. And he's going to get his way eventually, I think. I think the fact that the Walt Disney Company is not going to change their positions, they are not going to change the way they do business. And that is eventually going to lead other investors to flee from them and back Nelson Peltz. And I think he will eventually get his way, whether or not it's in the upcoming proxy battle or if it's a proxy battle in the future. But I think it's very clear he is not going away anytime soon, and he is going to continue to hammer the Walt Disney Company, its board, and its CEO, Bob Iger. Let me know what you make of Nelson Peltz using Netflix's earnings to bash Walt Disney Company over the head. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.